In the weeks ahead, working with Leader Stewart-Cousins and Speaker Hastie, we'll find even more ways to deliver for New Yorkers, just as we've done these last 5 years.
Welcome back to Inside City Hall. That was Governor Kathy Hochul's final promise to New Yorkers during her annual State of the State address in Albany earlier today. The governor is pledging to work with state lawmakers to advance her agenda, including universal child care, pushing back on ICE, making it easier to build more housing, and other items. Joining me now with more on her address is State Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins. Welcome back to the program. Good to see you.
It's always good to see you. And I know it's still kind of a happy new year, so I'll wish that to you and to your viewers.
Well, thank you. Same to you. What were your overall impressions of today's speech?
I thought it was a good speech. I really liked the focus. Certainly, one of the things that our conference has been so focused on has been this universal child care, pushing the opportunities for people all over the state to be able to take advantage of that. And so to see the governor's full-throated endorsement of that is important. We were able to kick off session last week, and certainly in my opening remarks, we talked about both universal health care, or rather child care, as well as affordability, and certainly the pushing back on ICE and making sure that all New Yorkers feel safe and that we are protecting our immigrant community. So I thought so much of what she said was right on point, and I'm looking forward to working with her.
Okay. In fact, I want to follow up on that. The talk about state liability for certain actions by ICE agents if they stray outside of state laws got, I believe, a standing ovation, as a matter of fact. Let's take a look at what the governor had to say about that.
Public safety will always come first, but it must be pursued lawfully and with humanity. We will not allow masked ICE agents to storm our schools, our daycare centers, our hospitals, our houses of worship for civil immigration raids.
And Senator, is that a hypothetical concern based on what your members are seeing in Minneapolis and elsewhere, or is this happening already now here in New York, as far as you're concerned?
Well, again, I think one of the other things that the governor mentioned was the fact that there was a gentleman just yesterday picked up, I guess, in City Hall, who had his authorization papers, work authorization through October, and all of a sudden he's in custody. So I don't know anymore what's hypothetical, but we do know what our reality is, not only as we see what's happening in our communities here, but also around the nation. So I know that it is a moment where we have to address this and put some reasonable guards in place so that people are not feeling frightened, intimidated, hounded, harassed for no reason without state legislators and the governor standing up on their behalf. So, I mean, I think we're at a moment now we've got to really address not only the hypotheticals, but the realities, and know that it could be our reality.
On a different topic, the governor talked about how crime is down across the state. And I noticed that that's despite fears and complaints about discovery reform that you and I have talked about in past years, bail reform. It's too early to know what the session's going to bring, but the fact that it doesn't necessarily seem to be front and center this time, is that proof that the reforms have worked as far as you're concerned?
Well, Earl, I know that what we did, what the legislature did, what we have continued to try and do again was just to make sure that people had justice. We know that bail reform became the topic for so many people, and our reality has always been that we knew that people were languishing in jail for misdemeanors, for nonviolent felonies, sometimes years at a time because they could not afford bail. And we didn't see that as being just. As well as discovery reform. We wanted to make sure that people have an opportunity to know what evidence folks have against them so that they could defend themselves properly. We have just sought justice, obviously for the victims of crime, but obviously for anybody going through the system as well. So I believe working with law enforcement partners, making sensible changes to our our legislation as needed, but with the underlying principle of bringing justice to all in the justice system.
There's on a different topic, the governor mentioned something that we here in the city would call a third rail of New York politics, which is dealing with auto insurance liability. The question has come up before. We pay the highest rates in the whole country. The general assumption is that the trial lawyers have been so diligent at talking with and working with the legislature that no change is likely. Could this be a year where that's different?
Well, again, I think everybody is looking at ways to make life more affordable for New Yorkers. And so many of us obviously are faced with rising rates of insurance, and car insurance is one of those insurances. So we're going to take a look and see what the governor is proposing and see what we can actually do that could be helpful in this affordability crisis. So, like I said, usually, as I usually say, everything is on the table, and obviously, with the state of the state, there's a lot of broad strokes, and we always got to look at the details, and we're looking forward to doing that.
A couple of years ago, it was suburban communities, possibly including some in your district, that really pushed back against the development proposals that the governor was advancing to try and build affordable housing. She said in today's speech that 400 odd communities have opted into some of the incentive programs that she's put in place. And I know that one of those communities is in your district. Is it really true that rents have actually come down in New Rochelle because they've built so many units in recent years?
Well, I think that obviously the availability of housing on every level is what will help to bring the prices down. You know, I also know that what the governor said was that she's offering more carrots. And just to be clear, we weren't pushing back against the housing proposals just to push back against housing proposals. We all understand the need, and certainly affordable housing has always been in the center of what we're trying to do. But we also realize that most communities want to be involved in whatever the plan is. And most communities do understand incentives. So I like the part where she said that she is offering more carrots. She did start out with sticks, and that was very much part of the pushback. So now I think we have carrots, we have sticks, and we have state that are really pushing policies that will allow for more housing to be built. And I think that's a good thing. Mm-hmm. And even in terms of tenant protection, that was also part of it as well. And we did good cause in the city and make it available outside of the city as well, so that people won't just raise rents by 50%, 100%. So I think working in concert on a lot of different levels will continue to bring the housing prices down, because we want people to be able to live and thrive and stay in New York, not only to raise children, but to be able to retire.
As a final question, when we were reporting on some of the cuts that are coming down from Washington, especially in the social services area, and the evaporation of subsidies for health care, in particular for health insurance, it was expected that some of the burden was going to fall on the state. Would that happen if that does happen, would it happen in this budget, or would you be dealing with it next year in 2027?
Well, every day is a new day. So just last week, there was another, almost $4 billion that the Trump administration cut out of childcare and social services. And, grateful that your attorney general with others pushed back on that because of the $10 billion hit across the country, only in blue states. And so there's been an injunction on that. So obviously, with our essential plan, 1.3 million folks in New York will be impacted by it. People having their insurance raised 38-40%. So every week there is a new threat to our bottom line, but certainly we are trying to deal with as much as we can as it comes about. So the bulk of this, from what I gather, because the Republicans in Washington wanted to make a lot of it after the midterm elections. But the reality is that we are trying to find a way to meet the needs of New Yorkers. But again, urge New Yorkers to be very, very clear. We need federal partners who will push back on these different cuts, on the actual assault, frankly, on our ability to take care of New Yorkers. And I think if we all are talking to our congressional representatives and saying, please, let's stop the assault. Let's support people. Let's support economic development and healthcare. We will be in a better place. So,
Well, okay.
We'll see what happens.
All right. Sounds like a very busy session ahead. Thanks for spending some time with us tonight.
Thank you.